Hi, I'm Sarah. I am a part-time reseller on sites like eBay, Mercari, Poshmark, Etsy, Depop. Am I forgetting any of them? And today I am going to go through and tell you everything that sold in February. I will begin by saying that my sales were not even close to what they were in January. And part of that was just due to probably economic climate, but part of it also was due to just not putting as much into the store as maybe I did earlier in the year, which I'll be kind of getting back to that more coming into March. But we still had 39 sales. And so I'm going to just put all of the pictures of what sold over here on this side of the screen so that you'll be able to have an idea of what sold. And I will tell you what platform the item sold on and how much my final profit was after fees, cost of goods, all of that good stuff. So there's a few. So let's just get started. One thing I will say is I did have bundles on 3 different platforms, which I think is really cool. So the first one that we had was a bundle on eBay. And I sold this quiet luxury green sweater at the same time as this animal print dress. And these were a couple of items that I'd had in my store for a while, so I was really kind of happy to just move them along. So not a big profit on this bundle. The profit overall for the bundle was $10.84. I made $6.52 on the sweater and $4.32 on the dress. Up next is this vintage folk art rooster. This was so popular out of the gate. I'd actually made a pin for it for my Pinterest board, and it is one of my most liked pins to date. And I literally didn't even have time to take this and put it away. It sold within like 2 days of me even listing it in the store. So got a profit of $14.88 on this rooster. And one thing that's really interesting is that I am trying for $15 for each item that I sell. I want to make a $15 profit. So I got really close to that $15 profit with this rooster, and I really didn't see that coming. Up next is this 1970s grape leaf trivet set. I found this at a Goodwill in Green. These were so fun. I knew that they weren't going to be like a big knock it out of the park sales piece, but I actually ended up making $30.77 on these. And yeah, they sold pretty quickly as well. Up next is this pedestal picture frame. This one gave me trouble. I couldn't figure out how to open it as a picture frame, and neither could the buyer. We went back and forth, and they decided to keep it anyway. I got a profit of $24.84, and that sold on Etsy. Up next is this vintage 80s Komar nightgown. And I absolutely love this from the second I first saw it. I was like, somebody has to have this. And it ended up selling on Etsy for $24, and I got a profit of $24.22. Up next is this Madden Girl cardigan. I had this cardigan forever. I bought it at a yard sale over the summer and ended up getting a profit of $13.80. It sold on eBay. And next up is a brand to watch out for. It is Sister Katie, and it is a very sustainable fashion, lag and look type brand. I ended up getting $19.21 for this on Poshmark. That was my final profit. And next I picked up this vintage Laura Ashley dress. I came across this at a cancer charity thrift shop, and it was marked up a little bit, I think like $15. But I was like, this is vintage Laura Ashley, and it was absolutely beautiful. It sold within just a few days, and I got a profit of $37.97. Up next is this navy knit sweater, and I really thought this piece was really fun when I bought it, but I ended up hanging on to it for quite a while before it sold. It did sell on Etsy, and I got a profit of $17.95, and I love the fact that someone bought this for their mom and said that they were replacing one that she had worn a lot, so they were really happy to find it. Next up is a bundle on Posh. And this bundle is a bundle of items that were just old in my shop. So again, didn't make a lot of money, but it moved it along and I got a little bit of profit, which I'll be happy about. The first part of the bundle was this Y2K Safari tank top. I remember picking this up at the bins, I think in Hartville, and I thought it was cool. but it sat and sat and sat. The statement belt I've had even longer. I picked these up at the bins, gosh, maybe 2 years ago. So it's been there forever. This Ken top also came from the bins in Hartville. And then also I sold this vintage black hand knit vest as a part of the same bundle. The vest would have done much better, but it did have some flaws to it, so I had it marked down. So individually, the safari top sold for $3.62. The statement belt sold for $5.22. The 90s Ken sold for $6.08. And the vintage black hand knit vest sold for $7.40, and a total of $22.32 for the bundle. Up next, I sold this Nordic sweater. I thought this was so pretty, but it also sat for quite a while, but it sold and I got a profit of $14.13 on eBay. Next up is what I consider a flop. I picked this Ola Johnson top up off of ThreadUp, and I was hoping to flip it for a much better profit than the $9 whole that I got, but held on to it for a long time, took an offer. It ended up going overseas, and in the end, yeah, it was not a good sell, but $9.10 versus losing money. I'll take it every day of the week. It's sold on eBay. Next up is this white cotton corset, which I thought this was so pretty. I picked this up probably into the summer, and it sold on Poshmark, and I made a profit of $9.60. Next up is a bundle on Etsy, which I'm always happy to get. And it was 2 books. The first one is this flower arranging in color. I sold it, got a profit of $13.53. And the next is this 1987 flower garden book, and I got a profit of $24.53 on that, for a total profit for the bundle of $38.06. Up next is this Eiffel Tower trinket tray. Loved this when I bought it. Some folks are saying it's a wall art. Some folks have thought it was an ashtray. So lots of different things it could be. I ended up selling it on Etsy and got a profit of $17.31. Next up is this wood wall rack. This is another one that took a little bit longer to sell than I thought it would, but it also went on Etsy, and I got a profit of $18.41. Up next is these vintage Americana taper candle holders. I love these, and I'm still trying to play into a little bit the America's birthday coming up. We had to do a little work on these. My husband did some super gluing on these, but we did get them sold, and I made a profit of $17.45. And next up is another sale that I thought could have gone better, but it just didn't. It was a silver plate teapot and creamer. I ended up paying too much for these out of the gate, so I sold them on Poshmark and got a total profit of $9, so not thrilling. I sold this wall basket on Etsy, and it sold, and I got a profit of $17.03. Up next, I sold this Coldwater Creek tank top, which I thought was so fun. It kind of reminded me of something from like Cezanne or Dawn. Ended up selling it on Depop and got a profit of $15.44. And the worst sell of the month is coming up. I bought this Jiggly Jeans skirt off of ThreadUp for resale, and I thought, oh, it's going to do great. It's a great brand. I got a profit of a total of 57 cents after having them forever. So, having the skirt forever. So, bad buy. Wouldn't buy that again. I sold this Brooks Brothers tank, which I love. I have it in pink. I sold it on Poshmark for a profit of $13.36. I sold this Rachel Zoe linen top on Poshmark, and I got a profit of $8.21. Oh, there's a vehicle outside the house. I had to look at that. I sold this Arvista beaded cardigan on Depop. It got so much attention across all of my platforms. I ended up getting a profit of $10. And then I sold this Persian cat statue, which if you follow any of my social medias, I shared this out because it was just so pretty. And I got a total of $15.75 in profit. Sold this on Etsy. And then I sold this pewter base of the candle with the hurricane lamp. I sold it on Etsy, got a total of $21.12 in profit. I sold this terracotta planner. I really love this. I paid up a little bit for it, so not much of a profit here at only $9.06, but I was still happy with it. I had this Pottery Barn pillow cover forever, and I thought I was just going to be keeping it, but it did end up selling on Poshmark, and I got a profit of $9.75. The next is the best order of the month, and I picked up this vintage pillow on Etsy, I picked it up on Whatnot. Sorry, I keep looking out the window. There's a van out there, and I don't know exactly what they're doing, but this is real life, right? So I picked up this pillow on Whatnot, and it ended up selling on Etsy, and I got a profit of $47.14. And next up is this Chico's pink dress. This is my second worst sell. It was a size 3. It's a pretty color. I don't know. Nobody wanted it. I got a profit of $1 selling it on eBay. Last 3, this vintage hand-painted car. I thought it was so cute, but it got 0 interest until somebody made this offer, and I ended up selling it on Poshmark and got a total of $8.80 profit. Last 2, this vintage ceramic bunny, got all kinds of interest. I shared it out on social media, ended up selling it on Etsy for $9.47, and got a message from the buyers that it was bought as a birthday gift from one sister to another, and the sister that bought it absolutely loved it, or the sister that got it as a gift, I should say, loved it. Last up is this Frankie Shop sweater sale. I thought it would do better, but I think I paid a little bit too much to begin with. Sold it on Posh and got a profit of $12. So that's it. That's February. I have already got off to a better start in March, so keeping my fingers crossed, I'm going to try to work harder to get more things into the store. And I'm just looking forward to the nicer weather and, just being more active with my business in March. So let me know. What do you think? Are you surprised by any of the sales? What are you doing for your store to kind of pick things up as we come into the spring season? If you like this content, please consider subscribing. Thank you.